Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm here with my 21 LRS again. I'm gonna be throwing a few new parts on it, and I'm gonna walk everybody through everything I'm doing because I haven't done an actual vlog video in forever. So first thing we're gonna handle, this brand new Saddleman seat I got myself. Now Saddleman also had a backrest for my new sissy bar, and I got myself some foot pegs for the wife. Now, one weird thing you have to do with these Saddleman backrests is punch holes in the leather yourself. Not quite sure why, but you have to line up the bracket from the Harley sissy bar with the proper holes. Sounds difficult, but it's not, because Saddleman actually gives you a little thing to figure out where all the holes and shit are. So I have a pick to punch the holes to get the screws through. Screwdriver is for taking the old seat off. I ain't getting that part yet. And a number 4 Allen. I have a bit one on a socket wrench because I lost my actual Allen key set. I have no idea where I put it. But I'm gonna go ahead and punch these holes and get right back with you. So I did end up having to grab a razor blade to make the holes a tiny little bit bigger. Now, you do have these little spacers for the type of sissy bar I have. This stupid thing just clamps down, so you have to put spacers between it. But so, whoops, one-handed, not as easy as I'd hoped. So bolt goes through, spacer goes on the bolt, and then it goes onto there, and then it clamps down on the bar like this. So we'll see how well that stays working. Now, to get it on the sissy bar, all I did was I pre-installed the bracket, the bolts, and the little spacers there, and left them pretty loose. You can see I left it pretty loose. And then I slid it up from underneath the bar, got it to where I needed to, and then just little by little tightened these two down until it held itself. And I'll just finish tightening those down. I wouldn't tighten them down too much so you don't break the pad. I did not look up what an actual torque spec on that was, but everything all nice and tightened down now. Can't even pick it up. I thought that this pressure holding bracket would be a little weak or maybe move on me, but nope. Pretty much hand tight till you feel the screws just barely stop turning. Holds on plenty tight. Next is actually putting the seat on. For that, you just need the screwdriver that I had earlier. It's just a simple little Phillips on most Harleys, unless you went and swapped that yourself. Just loosen that up. You don't really need the screwdriver much more after that, because you can just get it off by hand after that. And on the LRS, you just pick up the back of the seat, slide it forward, and then just get rid of it. My seat was trashed. I don't care about throwing it. I wanted to go clean up the under seat part a little bit before I got to this part, so it was easier to see. So here's where your factory solo seat bolts in. You need to move this to there. Now this is just a little plastic cap that you have to pop out. This has a little tiny E-ring that you need to make sure you don't lose to pop it out. You just replace that to there, there to that. Easy peasy. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right quick. There we go. That one's back in there. So all you gotta do on that is just push this little plastic E-clip off with your fingers. It's pretty easy to do, just do it slowly so you don't send it flying and lose it. And that one will just fall out of there and just fall out from under the fender. Because without a lift to pick the back end up a little bit, there's no real way for you to get your hand up under there, that far under the fender. On this one though, you can, on the LRS, at least reach up onto the back of the fender to get this little plastic one to pop loose. And see, it's just little plastic teeth, so if you don't want to risk scratching your paint trying to pick at it to get it to yank loose, you can shove your arm under there and just push it out. And then you just pop that back. Oh, there's that. I'm a little stupid. There's a little directional tab on this too. Fill that hole back in. Good to go. Now, I don't need this screw anymore because I got a screw from Saddlemen. Now, in the Saddlemen instructions, it does say that you need to take this right here. That's your bolt down. And you got to take it off, flip it around so it's sticking out where it's supposed to be. They just put it like this during shipping so it doesn't get messed up, or your seat doesn't get messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right quick. Be right back. There we go. I forgot to mention before, these are also a 4mm Allen key, just like the backrest bolts. And the instructions do say what this is. It's 10 to 15 pounds of torque on these two. It says specifically not to over torque them, could mess up the seat, so there is that. Now, they did give us these paint saving cushions that go between the bracket and the bolt. One red, one black. I'm thinking I might go with black. The red's just a little bit too off. And that just pops right over top of the bolt hole and just stays there. Keep this one as a spare though. And then, like I said, I also got a special Torx bolt from Saddlemen with a nifty little cover. So, get to use that. Now, let's slide this on here. One-handed seat install. There we go. Everything lining up. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and do this part off camera. Gonna need 2 hands for that. And here we go. All done. Backrest on, seat on. Got my nifty little special Torx anti-theft bolt in there. And it does come with a key. And I'm probably just gonna put that in my handlebar bag there. So, next up, foot pegs. Let's get going. Alright, so next up is the mounting brackets for the passenger foot pegs. The package comes with the mounts, 2 bolts for the mounts, 2 pins to hold the foot pegs in, these 2 spacers, and then the detent springs, balls, and E-clips for the pins. Now, according to the instructions, these spacers, the little holes go on the bottom because that's where the detent ball and spring will click into place to hold the peg. These bolts here are supposed to be torqued to between 38 and 48 foot-pounds, so not too tight. And this side, it's going to connect to this hole right here, and it has a small little alignment pin. The instructions are not very clear on this side, but I'm assuming this is the plug it wants you to take out, and the swing arm bolt acts as the alignment pin for this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out and start getting everything set up. So this little plug I pointed at actually goes all the way through the threads. So what you're gonna need to do is use a hammer, tap a pocket screwdriver into the little plastic plug and unscrew it like an actual screw. So for that, you need a T45 Torx. I personally had to use an adapter and a 1/4 inch T45 because that's the only one I had, but you're going to need one that is very deep because the bolt goes like all the way back here. So a normal Torx is not going to get to it. So on to the next one. Alright, so I got those torqued down. Next up, when you open up your foot pegs, different foot pegs are differently installed. The ones I have are 2-piece. They're the Willie G ones. This piece slides out of the actual foot peg in this small hole here. It is where the spring and the detent ball go. So that is where these go. And then you slide this over top of it to try and not send your spring and detent ball flying. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for this one side, and I'll get back to you. Alright, well I got this one all the way on the first piece. Now, once you slip the ball and spring into the little sleeve, you can just slide the sleeve over. It's not too difficult, and it will stay, so you don't have to worry about it flinging itself out. Now, all I did was just take it, slide it in, and it wasn't too difficult to line up the hole. Then you take the pin and you make sure you find the side that's depressed a little. You see how it sits flat, slips right in there. And then on the other side, it gets held together with an E-clip. Now the E-clip goes in these little grooves if you've never dealt with one. And this little E-clip slips right over top of it. They're difficult to put on at first, but I just used a small pair of pliers to slowly push down on it, and it'll pop on eventually. Just be careful, because if you don't get it good enough, they can go flying. Next part is the foot peg. It just slides on and gets tightened down with these little bolts that come with the foot pegs themselves. On this style, not all foot pegs are the same. And just start that in there, get it lined up where you want it, and it takes a, what was this, 3/16 Allen key. So let me go ahead and get that tightened down. It only tightens down to about 20 foot-pounds, so you don't really need to go very tight. And there you go. Tighten that screw all the way down once you get the peg where you want it orientation-wise, and it's not moving. And I'll lock it right up into place. I'm going to knock out the other one right quick, and then we should be done. Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Everything together. Now, tomorrow, probably take their wife out for a test. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you at the next one.